Now, even though it's interval time here at the waterfront, we've got more music for you and more dedicated young performers. It was 2 centuries ago that a famous gathering of Irish harp players took place here in Belfast, just a few hundred yards from this hall, in fact. But it was to be the end of an era. The piano rapidly replaced the Irish harp in popularity, and actually by the 1980s there was just a handful of performers left in the country. Now suddenly the harp is enjoying a dramatic comeback throughout Ireland, and Belfast finds itself at the forefront of that revival. 6 years ago, one of the country's leading performers, Janet Harbison, launched the Irish Harp Orchestra. And a few weeks ago, we caught up with them rehearsing amid the beautiful snowy glens of Antrim.
The Belfast Harp Orchestra is a new idea. There was never a harp orchestra before us. The harp was traditionally a solo instrument, but it would also have accompanied the recitation of poetry and indeed the harper singing. We play from the tradition, but we also play modern music or more contemporarily composed traditional music, if we can put it that way.
Okay, not so suddenly. Take it easier the next time round, okay? Right. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2.
The Belfast Harp Orchestra is made up of, at any one time, at least 20 young Irish folk. And we're talking about children between the ages of 11 and young people up to the age of, say, 25.
Now, that's it.
I teach constantly by ear. The harp has been part of an oral tradition. That means that the music was never written down, it was passed from harper to harper through the generations. And it might surprise many to know that the first Irish harp music that was actually published for harpers was in 1967.
Come on now. Let's see if we can't clean that little bit up. So good definition before we get into that A chord there. Shall we just have a
It's a bit like learning poetry. If you can imagine learning your nursery rhymes, you start off with the simple ones. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall, Humpty Dumpty had a great... Well, it doesn't make sense without the fall. And, you know, music is like that. If music doesn't have its completion, you know, its completing logic, it doesn't make sense of itself. Now, you cannot memorize something that doesn't make sense. So, I mean, that's where, you know, your sense of logic and your sense of phrasing and your pure musicality actually is developed to a very high degree.
I think that learning by ear has a lot of benefits. Like, first of all, I think like when people start an instrument, first of all, with classical music, one of the most difficult parts can be actually reading the music. But like with the Irish harp, when you're learning using the oral method, you can start straight off to play a tune, and there's no like barrier between you and the music.
Can I have us all in the key of G now, please?
The main thing with the harp, I mean, you've got 34 strings on an Irish harp, so obviously each one of those strings has to be tuned separately. And when you have so many harps to tune as well, it makes it a bit more complicated again. But basically you start on with one note and then you tune like in fifths and octaves around that until your whole harp is in tune. We're supposed to use like perfect tuning, not like tempered tuning like the piano, which gives it a fuller sound, you know. But like then you have changes of temperature and stuff like that, or if the harp is knocked into or something, it can put it out of tune again, so you have to kind of keep retuning them.
The harp is essentially a triangular frame instrument with a sound board and sound box on one side, and the sound is produced by the plucking of strings, and you can get the whole range of emotional experience in the sounds, for everything from the warlike and the heroic to the most romantic, to the cheeky and the lively. To the mystical and the fairy-like music. The harp has a very special place in the story of Ireland. In fact, every aspect of the story of our nation, of our international status, our international recognition, because the harp has held such an important place in the life of Ireland from the early Middle Ages at least, if not before that. The harpers were a professional class of bard, along with the poet and the druid. He was a very celebrated and essential member of the Irish clan life.
In the late 1500s, Henry VIII made the harp the emblem of Ireland by minting it on the first Irish coins, and from that time onwards the harp was pretty much accepted internationally as the emblem of the nation. Over the centuries, the harp has been an important image, not only in our sentimental ideal about Ireland, but also in the political struggle, so you constantly find the harp being represented in the Irish political struggle.
Belfast has a very special history with the harp because of the gathering of harpers in 1792. This was only a 4-day gathering, but it was an attempt by the leading members of Belfast society to record the last vestiges of a dying tradition, because the day of the minstrel harper was nearly over. The piano had replaced the harp in the great houses of Ireland. 10 harpers only came to Belfast in 1792, and the young man, Edward Bunting, who was a very well-known and precocious musical prodigy, he was a very well-established music performer, he went along to notate the music of the harpers over the three days that they were gathered in the exchange rooms in Belfast. But he immediately was inspired by their music, particularly the music of Dennis Hempson, the 95-year-old harper, because he recognised in it the music of an ancient time and otherworldly music. In fact, he called it the Aboriginal music of Ireland. This was actually organised by the fathers of the United Irishmen movement, which was actually a Republican movement spearheaded by the merchant class of Belfast, who were a Presbyterian community. And they recognised that the harp was very much wound up with our idea of our own Irishness. And they hoped that the gathering of harpers in Belfast in 1792 was going to fire the national populace to patriotic fervour. The Belfast Harp Orchestra was established in 1992 as really to provide a local element to the celebration of the bicentenary of the 1792 event in Belfast.
Okay, let's take from the last section once more. Ready? 1, 2.
Everybody gets a hard time in rehearsals. It's a very concentrated training session. Because it's done by ear, they all are obliged to bring their tape recorders so that they can go home and work with their memories of the day. We would work pretty concentratedly for a number of hours, and then we would take a couple of hours romping up the hills or down the Strand or in the forest.
The members actually come from all over the country, both north and south. We have members from Antrim, Derry, Newry, and then like Monaghan, Mayo, Dublin, Wexford, places like that. And the best thing is, like, when people come from all over, that's one of the great things about the orchestra, because you get to meet lots of people that, you know, maybe have a different way of thinking than yourself, or that you wouldn't have a chance to meet normally, and you just have a brilliant chance to come together at rehearsals when it's a residential weekend rehearsal. You know, it's good fun.
Let's calm the pace a little bit, and we'll have a run through Miss Hamilton. Yeah? Okay, let's give it a go. Ready?
There's a lot of different types of music, so everybody should be enjoying at least a part of it.
I enjoy the variety of the music that we play, because it's not just all jigs, reels and hornpipes.
Bringing more of the modern stuff that Janet's doing right now, I think that's important as well, but she's still like keeping the tradition alive.
I'm from Dublin, and there's been a great revival in the harp in the last few years, and it's widened the repertoire.
The revival is just so great. There's so many people playing all over the country. Like it's great to see it.
The best thing about the orchestra is just getting to meet all the people and getting on the tours and everybody getting on well.
It's the people most as well as the music, because you get together with them, you get to know so many new people, and they're a good laugh.
They come from all arts and parts, all communities, all social stratum as well, and they're a very mixed bunch, and you know, they're all the richer for that. But also they're from both religious traditions in Northern Ireland, which adds a very important factor for us. It is part of our shared heritage, and it's been a great educational tool, or a bringing together. It's allowed for the bringing together of both traditions, you know, where they might not otherwise meet, particularly not in the context of expressing their cultural identity.
Funny eyes. Is this an Easter time?
One of the important aspects of the life of the orchestra is the friendships that the young people create between themselves, and so it's a social forum, it's a cultural forum, and it's a forum for pure excellence in musicianship. I mean, that's what we're aiming for.
It's slagging, not slinging.
Slagging me now.
When a lot of people think of the harp, they expect you to see like an Irish colleen kind of singing and playing, you know, the spinning wheel, which is fine, you know, there's nothing wrong with that, but the harp can do so much more, and I think it's important like that people do realise that, and that's what the orchestra is trying to do, is to bring a modern perception of the harp to people. It's the way that we're kind of reinterpreting the harp tradition to bring it up to date, and like, so we perform a range of music. We do perform some songs and like dance music, modern compositions, and then the music from O'Carolan in the 18th centuries.
The thing about traditional music and Irish music is that it doesn't matter what instrument carries it, because it is something that's accessible to everybody, and everybody can identify with the stories, whether it's a lamentation, whether it's a love story, or whether it's a political story, or it's a story of jollity at a party, whatever. All of it just illuminates our joy of life and our appreciation of life and our respect for history.
Try it, and continues, and.
For many years the harp had been in decline, but there's such an energy now in the music making that it's having a very wide appeal. There's been a number of developments recently, particularly with ourselves. We're having great adventures. We're travelling off to America, we're performing in Carnegie Hall, we're going off to Germany, in France, and it's a licence to travel, and it's a fun thing to do. Also, it's a communal thing. I mean, people enjoy to make music together.